to as we were talking yesterday, that it very, 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 very busy on Facebook, of course, and everybody trying to jump on Zoom with kids and different things like that. So everybody, hey, good morning on behalf of the crew from the Working Ranch Radio Show, Working Ranch Magazine, Working Ranch Nation, of course, your host, Jeff Tigger Earhart, and the mighty Captain Tim O'Byrne, who is with us in his studio. Actually, his studio is outside this morning. And special guest from Billings, Montana, Roger Jacobs. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Roger. Good morning, Tigger. How you guys doing today?
Really, really, really good. So I just got to ask this first and foremost, because Roger, you were, what was it? I think it was with Lynette last week or a week and a half ago, and it was snow and cold. And then a couple of days ago, it was or even yesterday in around Bozeman and Billings, it was 83 or 85 degrees. So what's it doing today?
It's we're supposed to be about 70 today. It'd be nice if we'd get a little rain. We're starting to dry down, but yeah, we got an April Fool's Day storm and snow, and it's been a blustery, cold month and a hot month, and we've had everything in between. But we're ready for spring.
Yeah, I think everybody is ready for spring. So, Roger, we're gonna put you on the hot seat here a little bit, because the Cap'n and I have been asking a lot here in the past. What has it been, Cap'n? The last month or so, we've been really curious about how bull sales have been going light of the whole COVID-19, and can we transport those bulls? Can we move, across states and things like that? So, Roger, and maybe I just need to make a little introduction here. Roger Jacobs in Billings, Montana. Roger has been in the purebred livestock auctioneering business for many, 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 many years. Roger and I have worked together, as we talked about last night. Roger's in the real estate business. He's in the cattle business on multiple different levels, on the purebred side, on the commercial side. So if it has anything to do, as the Captain and I say, if it has four legs and says moo, Roger Jacob knows about it. So Roger, you have been, or Jake as a lot of us call you, you have been traveling, selling a lot of these purebred bull sales or seed stock bull sales. So I'm just going to pass the mic over to you. Tell us how things have been going. Have they been strong? Is there confidence in the market?
Oh, there's tremendous confidence by the people buying bulls. It's amazing to me with everything that's going on, how well we've gotten through this spring sale season. I've done about 55 sales since the 1st of January in different states, and continue to travel. I only have 2 more to go in North Dakota next week, and then again on the 20th. But the market's been just steady with last year and the year before, if not even a little better in some cases. Our crowds have dwindled by more than 50%, I'd say. So people are being a little cautious, but still, with the internet and modern technology, we can sell half or more of the bulls that way, and the rest of them on the seats, and just haven't missed a beat as far as the market's concerned. So, but I'm getting used to looking at a computer screen as I'm selling and talking to a computer, which if you'd have told me, Jeff, if you'd have told me 20 years ago that's going to work and I'm going to do that, I'd told you were crazy.
Right. Well, I remember.
There's still time, Roger. There's still time to tell them that.
Yeah, exactly right. I remember those days. Roger and we were trying to just reminisce a little bit last night, y'all, about, because Roger and I, we worked together back when I was managing some different bull sales, and we were trying to put timeline together, because I know I was beside Roger when he was selling and things like that. I remember one bull sale when I was on my cell phone and somebody else was on their cell phone, and we're bidding and everything's going crazy. And I can't remember, Roger, if it was you that said this, if you were the auctioneer or not, but I remember we stopped in the middle of it and we said, how the heck did we sell breeding bulls without the invention of the cell phone? Because all of us were on the phone at the exact same time. I think TR was with us, and he was one of my ringmen. And I know we completely stopped the bull sale, and everybody had a good chuckle because all of us were on our phones and we were going off. And now It is just the simplicity of being on one of these live internet broadcasting sites and viewing the bulls. And so one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, Roger, is in your opinion, the averages of what I've seen here, just kind of looking back, I can't say everybody's, but they've been pretty darn decent. Do you think that's because the cattlemen, that we still have confidence in the future of the product that we're raising? Is that why we've seen averages, I'm going to say, pretty darn strong for a lot of people in their bull sales?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think people, not just ranchers, but people in agriculture in general, if you're not an optimist, you're not going to be in the business. And, they're the hardest working, they're the most resilient people there is. And they're going to charge on. You either make dust or eat it. And there isn't many of us want to eat. So, everybody wants to be out there and try and make their program better, make their herd better, increase their weaning weight, sell better. So they're outsourcing good cattle, and they know that you can't stall out. You got to keep moving forward. And it's just admirable to see how resilient and how hardworking agriculture people are. And it's just fun to be part of it. I get up every morning and just count my blessings because I get to do this, and it's something I wanted to do from the time I was a kid. Tagging along with my dad to the sale barn the first time and here an auctioneer the first time. And, it inspired me to try and do this. And luckily I've been able to for longer than I'd like to admit.
What has been, when you're talking with your guys out there, and you're talking to a lot of buyers too, I'm just not talking about people whose bull sales that you're out selling their bulls. What are some of the commercial producers, when you're just visiting about what's going on with the markets and so on and so forth, what are some of the people saying? What's their take on everything?
Well, there's a lot of concern right now. We're getting beat down pretty bad on this market. And, there's a lot of talk about Packard concentration. There's a lot of talk about just the industry problems and the fact that, we've got a bit of a circular firing squad amongst the people that represent us, and that never works. We need to get through that somehow. I don't know how. I don't have the answers. But we all got to move forward as an industry and kind of pull together a little better than we have in the past. So those are some items that people are talking about. As you get east of here and east of where you are, Jeff, in the eastern North Dakota, there's so much concern about the tremendous amount of moisture they've had. I was up in that Carrington country last week, and there's still tens of thousands of acres of last year's crop standing in the field, maybe hundreds of thousands of acres yet. And it's tough. This COVID-19, everybody's talking about it. And obviously, the government got us to shut down pretty much, other than agriculture. The whole country shut down, but we're going to keep producing. And whether it's harvesting last year's crop and seeding right behind it, or producing cattle and keeping everything healthy and moving forward that way, and moving into the summer season of marketing via the videos. But I'd say people are pretty optimistic, but very concerned about what's happening in the market. Very concerned about Packard concentration, and we've got to somehow get through that.
I had a very interesting conversation yesterday. That's actually an interview that's coming up. It's going to be airing here on the Working Ranch Radio Show in a week or two. And it was with an individual that had tremendous insight. He's from Texas, and in the lending business. And we were talking about keeping those lines of communication open. Sorry, I'm digressing here a little bit, but spinning off of what you said, Jake, and how his perception of visiting with his customers is he said, really what this comes down to is the level of risk that our operations can maintain given the current market scenario that we're at. And I found that very, very, very interesting of how that perception is a little bit different for one person versus the other person versus this outfit versus that outfit, given where we started the conversation about where bulls have been selling thus far. So here's where I'm going down the road with this is I want to come back to this, and this is just my opinion, is that there is still, in light of everything going on, there is a tremendous amount of confidence in what we're doing as an industry, in the beef that we're raising, in what things are going to look like a year down the road and 2 years down the road, because people just like me, a commercial cowman, and I'm watching on Facebook, and when we've got a lot of wonderful purebred producers that are jumping online and watching with us, and I'm purchasing their bulls and I'm making an investment. And that means to me, even in the situation that we've been experiencing, and it's getting better, that there is still, I can handle this level of emotion, and I can handle this level of risk. That's why I'm reinvesting back in my outfit, and I'm reinvesting in the genetics that I'm using, because those genetics that I'm purchasing today, when Roger's up on the mic, I'm going to hopefully reap the benefits of those 2 years down the road.
Oh, absolutely. We've got so many tools in this industry anymore. We've bred so much performance into these cattle, so every generation's better than the last. With the EBD system, with the DNA technology, you got to keep moving forward, and I think people realize that. And all you got to do is study what's happened in the last 30 years as far as weaning weight, yearling weight in cattle from then to now, and know how much better these cattle are and how much more performance they have. You just got to keep moving forward. And as far as the risk, at least we're dealing with some low interest rates right now. When I was a young man, my first house, the interest rate was 10%, and that was a lot less than some people. And now these kids can refinance at 2.66% or something like that. It's amazing. And ranchers as well, they're able to get some money that isn't costing so doggone much. So if they want to expand, if they need to go to the bank and get a short-term loan, at least it's not a double-digit interest rate like it was back in the 80s.
Now, Tim, what were you saying the other day when you and I, when we were working on the radio show, and you had said how you were taking kind of a step back, and you were just trying to observe from a hilltop of everything that has kind of been happening, and you in your position driving, being the captain, reading all of the press releases and reading all of this information, and you and I have to kind of go through it. And you were saying how you noticed that as an agricultural community in general, not just as cattle ranchers, but as an agricultural community, how we've really kind of rallied together, and how the cowman has come together with this producer over here, and all of us in agriculture kind of all in the same basket together, because ag doesn't stop. Like Roger said, there's still corn out there that some people are trying to harvest. People are fixing to get in the fields here pretty quick and start planting as well.
Tigger, I'm seeing a tempering of our demographic. And I was going to ask Roger this, if you're talking to some of these young guys and gals that are coming back to the ranch, and it's all of a sudden they're in the rapids with us, rapids that we've never seen before. We didn't even know if there's a waterfall coming up here. And how are they kind of taking that? Because, you talked about your interest rates. Yeah, I know. There was folks getting interest rates back in the day, 16%, on their homes and that sort of thing. And now, I see these young people being quite savvy and taking advantage of it, but also they've got to have some sort of angst with this. It's their time, and they're taking over, and nobody saw this thing coming. How are they feeling, Roger? What are you hearing out there from the 30-somethings?
Well, they're a pretty optimistic bunch, but there is a tremendous amount of concern. If you've at these price levels, not just for cattle, but hogs, grain, across the industry right now, if you've got a lot of debt service, it's a pretty tough deal. But they're, they've embraced these young people. It's admirable to see how much they've embraced technology. whether it's in the livestock business, with embryo transfer and AI and different kind of marketing programs, or whether it's a farmer with his no-till and embracing every kind of technology that comes along. They're pretty optimistic bunch, but obviously there's a tremendous amount of concern that we got to get this market better. We got to get prices better, and hopefully we can do it. We can't do it with government price control. Obviously, less government is always better as far as I'm concerned. So it's an industry-wide problem, but the young people that are back in the industry, they're fun to be around. They're optimistic. They're coming to these bull sales and they study their lesson way better than the older generation did 20, 30 years ago. I mean, and I'm one of those older generation, I'm in my 60s.
Mate, I hear you. And I mean, this phone, this phone is their lifeline. It's their connectivity. Any question that they have, bang, you can get 8 great answers. Whereas back in the day, what were we going to do? Write a letter to somebody?
Yeah, the cell phone is the office, even for me anymore. Yeah. Whether it's the real estate business or the auction business, it's my office because I'm on the road all the time, and it's just the way it is.
Speaking of going back in the day, both of you guys remember this. And we don't spend enough time thinking about it, but remember back when you first bought cattle off of video, and it's not easy for us to do that. We have, we were born and raised to have those critters 15 feet in front of us, spin them around a couple of times. But then there was this trust bond had to be created. And I think it's worked out fantastic. Really, 25, 30 years ago, I would not have been comfortable buying feeder cattle off of video. Today, bang, 100%, not a problem.
And I think we've really seen it change this spring, obviously because of COVID-19, where people have stayed home and bought them off the various video platforms or internet platforms. And I think it's really going to change. We're going to see a lot of change going forward. People really got accustomed to it this spring. And I think there's going to be a lot of people stay home and buy bulls from their office or their couch or their kitchen table going forward, more so than we've ever seen. This what we're going through right now has really changed our business. And I think some of it'll be permanent.
Hear that, Tigger? You can do more off the couch with your potato chips and everything.
Right, exactly.
Your Cheetos.
I think that there's going to, and as we, and I know I was kind of looking at the clock, and Roger, I know you said, well, I can visit with you guys for so long and I got to get moving down the road. And here's, in my opinion, kind of the big take home. Roger, I agree with you 1,000%. This is going to not drastically change, but this is going to somewhat alter the way that we purchase and bid on a lot of these cattle, of course. But here's kind of my take home is that us as producers, it forces me to do my homework a little bit more, which I think is a good thing. It forces me to cultivate my relationships with those people that I'm purchasing bulls from, because I might not be able to go to their outfit and visit one-on-one like I used to. And it also forces me to cultivate those relationships with my financial professionals, all of those people that come into my outfit as a consulting basis. I think those people that are raising bulls, and again, just my opinion, that it forms those bonds with their customers. I think there's a lot of positive that can come out of this, even down to right now reevaluating what are those expenses that I have on my outfit. Where am I reinvesting back in my outfit? Is it reinvesting in genetics? Is it in nutrition? Is it all of the above? Herd management? Yes, I hope it's all of the above. So in light of what's going on, yes, prices are not very good. Yes, I looked at the calendar and said, I have to move some here in the next 30 to 40 days to meet my financial obligations. Yes. However, stepping back from all of that is the emotional stuff, and looking at it from a business perspective, I think there's a lot of good, because it forces us to solidify those relationships so that we can buy with confidence those calves off of a video auction, those bulls off of a video auction, or call the person we need to purchase seed from or fertilizer or whatever the case. I think those bonds are going to get a lot tighter, and there's going to be, at least for me, I have to have trust in the professionals that I need to try to make me as successful as I can.
I agree with that. It's forced us to communicate more than we have in the past. I've had some sellers this spring that, you know, they never contacted their customers, but because of the change they had to go through and the options that we had to give people to buy bulls, they called every customer they ever had. And they couldn't believe the feedback they got. And their bull sales, some of them, their bull sales, I had one that was $1,200 higher on an average than it was a year ago, because they contacted every customer, which they hadn't done in the past. And their customers loved getting those calls and being able to talk about what they have to offer this year.
So in a way, you're saying that forced us to energize this whole thing. Like, I see what you're talking about now. In order to be great managers, better managers, you know, by removing that lack of trust, we have to take that leap of faith. When you take that leap of faith, the other person's going to try to catch you. And that's what you're talking about, where these, you know, the buyer and was connecting with his sellers, the guys that he hadn't talked to for a long time. And that connectivity, we all crave that, especially now in a quarantine situation, or most of us. Maybe Montana didn't quarantine. Maybe you guys have been quarantined
in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, and guys, do you want
to too quarantined up here?
Exactly.
You're good at it. You're real good at it.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. Roger, thank you for taking the time and coming on and visiting with us. We very, very, very much appreciate that. And
come on back too. Come on back.
Yeah, send me a text message when you're coming through. Let's grab some dinner, because now we're opening up. We well, maybe we need to make reservations now to be able to go out and eat. I'm not sure, but things are starting to open up. That is good news. Captain,
they don't take reservations at Taco Bell, Tigger.
We're going to the East 40 and Jeff's buying.
Exactly. Oh boy, howdy.
Oh boy.
On the Working Ranch Nation credit card on my expense account.
I told you you cut that thing in half, or I'll do it for you, boy.
It's been a pleasure being with you guys.
All right, sounds good. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Share, comment. And if you have some questions for Roger, you don't know how to get a hold of him, you got some questions for the captain, give us a shout, 707-RANCH-15. You can fire me an email at workingranchradio@gmail.com. So with that, I will bid everybody a wonderful Friday and the rest of the weekend. Working Ranch Radio Show coming up this weekend is going to be a great one. So God bless y'all, and we'll talk with you down the road.
Thanks, guys.
Adios.